大怪盗アルセーヌ・ルパンが残した不思議な宝物ルパンコレクションがギャングラーに奪われた。失ったものを取り戻すために戦う怪盗、世界の平和を守るために戦う警察、君はどっちを応援する？
Hello and welcome to LupinRecap vs. PatReview, the podcast that's stirring up a storm. I'm your host, Lokamasi, and with me is my lovely co-host, Fafner Masamune.
You know, there's gotta be some tokusatsu villain that's like a duck with a leek sword, right?
Well, I mean, the duck with the leek thing is like a thing in Japanese, I don't know if I want to say mythology, but like pop culture.
So,
like,
Sirfetch'd has to be a tokusatsu villain already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
I'm never going to get over the fact that they put my fan Pokemon at Pokemon. Like, I'm sure this happens to people, like, all the time with every gen, but this is the first time it's really happened to me. It's like, they did it. They read my letter. They know what I wanted.
I mean, it's kind of easy for my wishes to come true, because that's just more Eevee. It doesn't always happen. Hasn't happened since X, but you know.
Yeah, you don't know what you want until they make it like Wooloo.
Yeah.
You weren't asking for Wooloo, but now it's all you ever wanted.
My soul was asking for Wooloo, and now I know.
That's right. We are a Lupin Ranger versus Pat Ranger review and recap podcast, despite what that intro may have led you to believe.
Lupin Ranger versus Pokemon Ranger.
Make it happen, Toei.
Temple of the Sea.
We're talking about episode 43, He's Come Back. But before that, we're going to have a little pre-episode discussion on traitor subplots for absolutely no reason. The traitor subplot can take a whole bunch of different forms. There's the person that's been with the group for a while could be a traitor. There's this new person could be a traitor. Rather than go through all the different forms, I'm just going to talk about a couple of problems I think come up a lot. I'm normally not so negative about this, but the traitor subplot is one of those subplots that I see and I just go, oh.
Yeah,
We're
it's
doing this.
really good.
Yeah, it's good enough in this, I think, but it's still just like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
We'll go through the motions. So I have 3 problems listed, and I'm sure I'll come up with more. But first I have fake stakes. You never really believe, if it's somebody that's with the group, you never really believe they're going to be a traitor.
Mm-hmm.
The example I will always go to, in the Virion-Lissa support conversation of Fire Emblem Awakening, they kind of hint that Virion might be betraying your group, which, like, if he can't be, because what's going to happen? You're going to get to support A, and then he gets executed by Crom?
Yeah, usually if somebody's going to betray you, they're just around for one map, and then they just mysteriously vanish for a little bit.
Yeah, I think there was a similar issue with Soren in Path of Radiance, but it wasn't just like, here's a traitor plot for drama. There actually was a traitor, and Soren was hiding something else that caused him to act suspicious.
Yeah.
Like, it was fine. It wasn't as, leading into my second problem, it wasn't contrived. It wasn't like, why are we suddenly hating this character so much?
Mm-hmm.
And that could happen with both, like, recurring characters and new characters. Like, everyone was a new character once. How come we're beating up on this one? And if they've been with us for forever, like, doesn't that mean anything? They make a few mistakes and now we hate them?
They did a betrayal. It's unforgivable.
I'm trying to think of traitor subplots that worked, and it's just like Pan and Suikoden, I guess. Because, like, he actually does betray you.
Yeah, Pawn actually betrays you, but then he has a change of heart. That's pretty rad. It's a good moment.
Yeah.
He can permanently die if you accidentally let him.
And the last one I have is kind of, like, super specific. I've only really seen it once, but it was so baffling I have to bring it up. So in The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, the adventure-focused one, not the comedy-focused one, they did this episode with a new character. And they thought the new character was going to be, like, betray them to Eggman. And she does. And she has a change of heart and saves them, and she dies. And the moral that Sonic tries to push at the end of the story was that they should have trusted her to begin with. Hold on. She actually betrayed you, though.
Yeah.
You were right to be suspicious.
That's a
If your
weird
message, if your message was like, even people who do bad things might ultimately be good, and good or bad as a moral thing can actually be really hard to figure out, that would have been fine. But it was more just like, we should have given her a chance. Like, no, you shouldn't have. If you'd thrown her out to begin with, she wouldn't have betrayed you, and she'd probably still be alive, too.
If you'd trusted her sooner, then she would have betrayed you sooner, and then she somehow wouldn't have died because of that. Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Right, well, it's the butterfly effect.
Uh,
Every second creates massive consequences.
but yeah, like there's a lot of traitor subplots, but I just can't think of a specific one at the moment. But yeah, typically it's really not that good. It's kind of cheap drama.
Yeah, the reason it might not be rising to the top of your mind is that a lot of them are of like existing characters that turn out to be nothing, like Virion.
Yeah.
A lot of them are that, and so it just becomes like a weird thing that happens, and when you go to rewatch it, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that happening. But
Yeah. So like
it doesn't stick with you.
So like I've watched more than I should have of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is to say more than 10 minutes of. But there were just several traitor subplots in that series, just like every frickin' season. Oh man, is this person gonna betray us? And it's just, that's the only thing they could ever come up with for like their dramatic hook of the season.
Oh no.
The first season was the best one because the guy who is the traitor does suck. Agent Ward was the worst, except he is also persistent later on. He still exists past season 1 and he's still terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I can think of one good traitor plot, but that's kind of a spoiler. So
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
But
Okay.
anyway, Three Houses just came out.
I somehow didn't realize you were going to say that.
So yeah, Edelgard, really good because her betraying everyone is actually a significant part of the plot. It's not contrived. You can understand her reasoning for not telling you that she just wants to kill the Pope. And not only that, it's not just like a heel turn for the sake of being a heel turn. It's like, it's important to her character. And
Yeah,
she has justifiable reasons for doing it.
Yeah, everything that she says or does before betraying the group still makes sense.
Yeah.
Knowing that she was going to betray everyone. And it's not all chalked up to she was just pretending to do this or that, to trick you into thinking that she cared. Like, she still has a recognizable character.
Yeah, like, most of the time she's lying to cover herself, but then there's the Edge of Dawn song, which is basically just Edelgard's song about how she regrets lying all the time. But also, there's the fact that as the Flame Emperor, she kind of just tells the truth more. Like, obviously she can't tell you who she is, but she's like, no, I didn't do the Tragedy of Dustguard thing, that wasn't me. Hey, I also hate those who slither in the dark. You want to join me, person I've never met before? Your sword's really cool, and you're really cool. I'd like to have you. And then, of course, as has been pointed out on the internet, she does make the promise to come back to the monastery in 5 years, knowing full well what she's going to do, but, like, you know, that still makes sense, because she does actually like her class.
Yeah.
She loves her friends.
Mm-hmm. The other thing about Edelgard is that the first half of the game is full of meaningless traitor subplots. You have Yuritsa, you have Solon, you have Monica. There's traitors all over the place, and none of them matter, really. Like, Monica kills... We're already spoiling things. Monica kills Geralt. Solon does some shit. Yuritsa as the Death Knight is kind of important. But it's not really the gut punch that Edelgard is.
Yeah.
And I think the reason, part of the reason that reveal works so much is that, like, all right, we're going to take the mask off and it's going to be, I don't fucking know, Sedith? Like someone else that I don't really care about at this point. And then the mask comes off and it's Edelgard, and I play Blue Lions first, and Dimitri just starts laughing. To the point where, like, I thought it was him beneath the mask because the way the cutscene is shot. Because the mask comes off, then it cuts to Dimitri's face, and I'm like, what the fuck? But then it cuts to Edelgard's face, and it's like, okay, that makes more sense, but also, what the fuck?
What if it was just K from the Zero Escape series? And then he takes his mask off, and it's you.
And then he takes his mask off in the verdant wind. It's a different person. Anyways, that probably does it for Traitor subplot talk. Oh, wait.
Right.
I almost forgot. There's one last thing. Q Ranger sort of has a setup that's like the reverse of this. Because like, there's a team of 9 Rangers. They find one of them, and he's just the biggest asshole. So instead of, like, is this person going to be a traitor, and, like, how will that turn out? It's like, how the fuck is this person going to slot into the team?
No, you're like constantly betraying me by existing. What the heck?
He just shows up and is the worst, and then it's like, how are you going to work? And then when he does work, it's like so blasé that it actually loops back around to being hilarious. I'm trying not to spoil it, but it's actually great. Anyways, we're not talking about Q Ranger. We're talking about episode 43, Lupin Ranger versus Pat Ranger. The boy's back. Nope, he's come back. That's what it's called.
That's just like some generic line from a survival horror monster.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, on today's special episode of Fefner has been working a lot and also was sick today.
I just love my girlfriend so much that I am doing the summary for her today because I don't want to put off watching another episode for a week because we're at that point.
Yeah.
Where we need an episode every week.
I need my fix.
Our episode opens with Noelle using the world's least practical mouse to browse GSPO files in the dead of night with all the lights off. As you do.
You're gonna strain your eyes, Noelle.
Yeah. You're gonna need glasses and you'll be even hotter. Something seems to catch his eye, but we don't see what it is. Instead, we cut to the Lupin Rangers clowning on the world's dumbest ganglar, Tokage and Nakshak. Tokage is Japanese for lizard, and Nakshak sounds like somebody is slurring the word nutshack.
It's a little place where we can get together.
It's the Love Shack.
Oh no, I've made some grave errors.
Has somebody made a mashup of Love Shack and Nutshack?
I know that somebody's made a mashup of Love Shack and the music from Psycho.
I know somebody's made a mashup of every video game music ever in Nutshack. Anyways, when the Rangers attempt to take his collection piece, Yellow only finds an empty safe. Nutshack proudly declares that they're too late. Somebody else already stole his collection piece yesterday. The thief politely asked to see his piece for a moment and then immediately ran off with it. This is our villain for the week. This is the level of intelligence we're dealing with.
I love these idiots.
He's so dumb.
I feel like we've had more dumb ganglers recently. I guess most of the smart ones have been killed.
Yeah, the smart ones made their moves first and they died.
Yeah, after Lyman, they've all been kind of pathetic.
It's great because this is the reverse of what you'd expect to happen. But it's really like, it lets the plot get more serious and the humor comes from the ganglars.
Yeah, pretty much. They're just here to contrast everything.
But before the Lupin Rangers can carry out the world's easiest interrogation, the Pat Rangers arrive and start shooting everyone present. This gives Nutshack a chance to flee by running across the bay because he's a lizard, and some lizards can run across water.
He's a lizard ninja.
Mm-hmm. The Lupin Rangers follow suit by grappling away. They don't run on water, unfortunately.
Kyrie's tried, but it didn't go terribly well.
Kyrie just yells, "After him! Kyrie, no!" He just jumps in the ocean.
The grappling hook extends from out of the water. It just rises out.
Not one word. As the Pat Rangers mull over their encounter, They're approached by a man who wonders aloud if those are the phantom thieves that everyone is talking about. Sakia doesn't recognize them, but Keiichiro and Tsukasa do. It's Satoru, the first PatReview. They attempt to greet him, but he can't hear them because, oh my god, he has AirPods in. Oh god, oh fuck. I'm lying, he does hear them. And he says that it's been a while, and Sakia finally realizes who this man is. Cue the intro. Incidentally, the intro is slightly different starting with this episode. You know the scene where it's the three Ganglars in hell and their bodies are replaced with the big imposing phantoms?
Yeah.
Daystrom doesn't do that anymore, he just crumbles to dust.
Yep.
I didn't notice that the first time we watched. I had to look up the episode on the Wikipedia, and it told me that because I've stopped being able to watch the intro now. I just listen and tune out. Anyways, the episode resumes with Sakia filling Noelle in on who Satoru is. Noelle doesn't recognize the name, but does remember him as Sakia's predecessor. Hilltop informs us that Satoru is temporarily in Japan on a special assignment. Noelle finds the transfer to be rather sudden, but Sakia is just happy that his seniors got to reunite with their friend, which is what we cut to next. Keiichiro reminisces on the time Satoru spent with them back when Podamen was still a threat. This just gives these show an excuse to use footage of their sickest stunt again. Of Keiichiro jumping into the car while it just runs him over.
Yeah. It's a cool shot, you gotta use it more than once.
Yeah, I've watched some older Toku now, and that feels like the sort of stunts that they would do back then more often. Because it relies more on tricky camera work. Because if you notice, the camera follows the car, so you never see the spot where Keiichiro used to be standing and should no longer be. So he probably just didn't move, and the car just drove by him really close, and Gozi Ito just prayed that the car wasn't going to hit him.
Well, I mean, it's a car. It wouldn't be nearly as strong as these Podamen, the most powerful beings known to man.
It's so weird, because 2 episodes, Tsukasa killed one with a rock.
That was
and we have
up.
Satoru just unloading onto a Podamen that doesn't move. But anyways, Tsukasa asks Satoru about his special assignment, and he says he's in Japan to rout a Ganglar spy. Tsukasa then remembers how the Ganglars managed to reach victory striker before either team, which I didn't even realize was strange. I didn't know that was supposed to be suspicious. Keiichiro assures Satoru that he can catch the spy, and then we cut to Juror. The Juror trio discuss this mysterious other person that stole Nutshak's collection piece. Umika doesn't know what to do, but Kairi states that all they have to do is ask Nutshak and he'll probably tell them. He also knows what disguise Nutshak is using, but something about that disguise catches Toma's eye. What catches my eye is that he looks like a very disheveled Sakia. He looks like Sakia's dad.
After the YouTube career doesn't work out, it's just what happens to him.
Back at Global Police HQ, Sakia is introducing himself to Satoru. Satoru says he's heard about Sakia and that he sounds impressive. Sakia, ever the relatable millennial, immediately becomes a blushing mess upon receiving a single compliment. Tsukasa reveals that Satoru brought gifts, chocolates, straight from France. Noelle also introduces himself, but Satoru is just a complete dick. Doesn't shake his hand, just doesn't look him in the eye when he talks to him. Just really, really mean.
Just passive-aggressively pats his shoulder.
Satoru says that he'd already heard of Noelle. He's the undercover officer who's way too chummy with the phantom thieves. Noelle responds by saying he has his own concerns to deal with. But before these two can just start beating the shit out of each other right here, right now, Sakia starts shouting about how good the chocolates are. Satoru states that this brand recently became his favorite, and also eats one of them. Tsukasa says she thought Satoru didn't like sweets, and Satoru states, "Whatever gave you that impression?" Which is not an answer.
No, I've totally always liked sweets. What are you talking about?
It's me, Satoru the Sweet Eater. That's what they used to call me. Good old sweet-eating Satoru.
Sweet eater, etc.
Sakia hands out coffee and tells Satoru that they have more if he wants some. Satoru takes a sip, pauses, says no, pauses again, stares at Noelle, pauses again, and says, I already have what I need. This is the second time the Satoru has been asked about coffee on this show, and it's the second time he's used it as a metaphor.
Coffee's just always a metaphor. I mean, this has to be Satoru, obviously. The man just cannot drink coffee without relating it to his life somehow.
I remember that scene being so weird in another Pat Run 2, and I didn't realize it until I rewatched the episode today, like, he's doing weird shit about coffee again. Why are you like this, Satoru?
Hey, sir, do you want a refill? Can we ever really get a refill? Sir, please,
The manager's just like, oh no, that's just Satoru, don't worry about it. Like, oh, you're the new guy, you don't know about him yet. Noelle realizes that he's just been threatened, and Satoru asks to speak to Keiichiro in private. In the hallway, Keiichiro is shocked I say, to find that there are some rumors about Noelle. Satoru says that he's famous at the France HQ as the engineer behind the VS changers, but his background is a mystery. Apparently, some people even think he's made deals with the Ganglars. Keiichiro says Noelle would never do that, but Satoru points out that he's already made deals with the Phantom Thieves. Keiichiro is visibly uncomfortable, and Satoru declares point blank that he does not trust Noelle. We then cut to Nutjack, who declares that today was Bummer City.
Cool city. What a bummer city.
As he returns home, he finds a package waiting for him. It contains a collection piece, the Cœur Elastique, or the Elastic Heart, along with a note declaring it to be his. Nutjack is confused, but happy. Back in hell, Degranio states that he never thought that would be X's deal. He was feeling pretty down since Daestra's death, but this was just the thing he needed to cheer him up. Gauche is also amused. We are not amused, because there is a Daestra-shaped hole in these scenes now.
Yeah.
It's weird, like, I'm glad he's dead, really, but, it still just feels weird to have these scenes without Daestra there.
God, every scene is just gonna be Degranio being like, maybe this'll fill the empty hole in my heart now that Degranio is gone. Life is now meaningless.
When we cut back to the real world, we find Nutjack on a rooftop, eager to get back to causing trouble. The Phantom Thieves approach him, and he freaks out before remembering that he's in disguise. He tells them he's a fan of their work and tries to casually stroll away. Umika says, "Hey, Tokagale," and Nutjack immediately responds. Realizing his error, Nutjack enters his Ganglar form and tries to run away. The thieves catch him with their grappling hooks, and Kairi starts the interrogation, but before he can finish his first question, Nutjack uses his collection piece to expand his body and knock everyone down. The thieves are shocked that Nutjack managed to get another collection piece. Nutjack happily clarifies that he got his new piece from Noelle. He then bounces away using his newfound power. The thieves are understandably confused. We cut to Noelle receiving a phone call. We only hear his half of the conversation, which is, "We, leave it to me." From there, we cut back to the HQ, as Satoru explains that the spy was leaking information he didn't have authorization for. Someone was accessing the France HQ servers from Jim's computer. Once Jim calms down and realizes he isn't under suspicion, Satoru asks if anyone else has used the computer. Jim says that Noelle has. That's all the proof Satoru needs, but the other Pat Rangers are not so easily convinced. Especially Sakia. I'm so proud of my boy. Finally, Sakia can go back to just being super supportive of everyone. Keiichiro wants to discuss this with Noelle in person, and Satoru says he knows where to find him.
Not suspicious at all.
Yep, that's, We next see Noelle enter Nutjack's shack, which is suspiciously devoid of nuts. Nutjack is happily playing with his new collection piece when he sees Noelle. Nutjack grabs the card that came with his gift, and confirms that the man in front of him is indeed Noelle, because Noelle's picture is on the card along with his name.
Also not suspicious at all. Hello, it's me, Noelle. I'm sending you a letter with my name and picture on it.
Sending you top secret information. Sent from my iPhone. Nutjack thanks Noelle for his gift and goes to give him a hug when they're interrupted by Satoru. The Pat Rangers are all surprised to see Noelle in the situation. Keiichiro draws his VS changer and demands an explanation. Satoru declares again that Noel is a spy for the Ganglars. He says that nothing Noel says matters because he won't be able to lie his way out of this, and Noel responds by opening fire on the Pat Rangers. Noel then says that they're right.
There's nothing you can say that'll help your case. Nothing at all. He hasn't said anything. Shut up.
Noel then says that they're right. Nothing he could say right now would matter. He then tries to flee. Keiichiro orders him to halt, but does not open fire. After a few more orders to stop, Satoru rips the VS Changer out of Keiichiro's hands and begins shooting himself.
Shoot him! Shoot him!
Satoru, Sakia, and Tsukasa all pursue Noel, while Nutshak, who only kind of understands what's going on, exits stage left. Keiichiro, unsure what to do, shouts in frustration before also pursuing Noel. We get a few brief seeds of Sayamatoki's excellent parkour skills before cutting back to Nutshak. Nutshak is exhausted at having to do so much running. He says, "I've been running all the dang time lately." As soon as he laments as how everything has been going wrong for him, Red declares that they found him.
Thus, everything goes more wrong.
Nutshak is upset that they haven't given up yet. Red says that the third time's a charm, Yellow says that good things come in threes, and Blue says 3 strikes and you're out, while cocking his gun. The thieves then Kaito change and start their fight to an arrangement of Dawo Moase that replaces the vocal track with a saxophone. I want to find this track anywhere online.
Yeah, it's hard to find.
It's hard to find any of the music for this show.
Yeah, I had to search a while for the perfectly legitimate soundtrack, but even that doesn't have all of the songs on it.
Yeah, it has all the insert themes.
It has everything important that I would definitely want, but, you know, there are definitely a few songs that I would also like to have as well.
There were a lot of versions of Dawo Moase that I would like to get a hold of, like the sad ones. Anyways, Nutshak declares that he's not going to let anyone take away the collection piece that Noel gave to him. But when he tries to bounce away, Red transforms into Super Red. Nutshak's erratic movements don't help him anymore, and Red manages to shoot him down. Blue then holds him in place while Yellow opens his safe.
Hey, don't forget about his feint escape.
That's right, I forgot to write that down, but while trying to fool the precognitive Super Red, he says, "I'll do a feint here and then gets shot."
Yeah, he just, motions forward a little bit, then goes to the side, and it doesn't end well for him.
I honestly forgot this guy was only in one episode, because I remember everything he did. He's so dumb.
He's definitely not Ippo with the feints.
But Yellow opens his safe. 093. With the collection piece retrieved, Red asks if Nutshak really got it from Noel. Nutshak says that he did and is very thankful to Noel for his generosity. I think he says, what a swell guy. When Yellow says that Noel would never do that, Gauche enters the scene. She says they can't be sure what Noel would do. X has different blood flowing through his veins than you all. We flash back to Gauche using Gary Lamond on Noel, who appears completely blue with a pulsating orb in his chest.
I saw your guts. It's not human guts, I should know. I've cut humans open.
He looks like an anthro of that one Wonderful 101 enemy.
Oh yeah, the goo blob.
Yeah, it's impossible to remember the names of any of the enemies in Wonderful 101.
Yeah, they have a gimmick and its alien language. It's goo something, probably.
I think it's just called, Oobleck or something. But when Red demands an explanation, Gauche stops pussyfooting around the subject. X isn't human. I should have known. No human can do backflips like that.
Also, I would like to point out that when Gauche enters the scene, everybody but Blue points their guns towards her. Blue still turns towards her, but he keeps his gun trained on Tokageli.
Blue is a professional.
Yeah, it's not until this moment where he finally just turns around.
When this moment starts, there's also a variation of Gauche's theme playing in the background. It replaces the vocals with a more some sort of sinister instrument. I don't know what it is. While the thieves are trying to process this new information, Nutshak tries yet again to escape. He's stopped by Nigo and Sango, who both perform Kesat's boosts. Sango with Biker, Nigo with Crane and Drill. They obliterate him. The camera cuts back to the thieves and Ghosh, and Nutshak's save comes flying in from the right side of the screen. I wish there was a way to cut this so that scene happens immediately after him trying to run. I'll make my escape! Ah!
Da, 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 da.
Ghosh makes Nutshak feel all better, but he's still more of a threat to himself than to society. Ghosh thanks X.
I do love his little dance, or big dance now, I guess.
Yeah, he dances like the way a lizard crawls.
Yeah.
Because he's a lizard, and I'll go into this, but his suit actor is also a goddamn professional. Ghosh thanks X for making things so interesting, and we hear, "Good Striker appearing out of nowhere. How are y'all feeling today?"
Not great, Good Striker.
The thieves do not respond at first, but decide to put their confusion aside and take down the Nutshak. They form Victory, Lupin Kaiser, Splash Magic, and just try to beat him to death with Magic's arm. No spells, no finishing moves, just a cold, brutal beatdown.
Yeah, so, like, obviously, the choreography on this one's pretty good because it's not really much of a fight. It's extremely one-sided.
Oh yeah, and, like, this is the least threatening Ganglar we have ever seen. They use all of their mechs.
God, and they have, like, they don't use the standard, like, arm switch-outs. They, like, throw them forward and then charge in.
It looks really cool, but it's sort of, like, unsettling. Because, yeah, when Nutshak tries to run, the thieves swap out Splash and Magic for Scissors and Cyclone, but, like you said, they do that by throwing the two planes as far in front of them as they can, and just run up and catch them again.
Yeah, usually they just stand there in the transformation zone for a bit.
Yeah, and then when they swap to the blue and yellow arms, they, like, hold Yellow's chainsaw bit up to his neck.
Yeah, and
then shoot him down a road with blue. Goody asks if the team is feeling a little ticked off today, and Red tells him to shut the fuck up.
Oh, I should also mention one more thing. When they switch out blue and yellow, they are in the air, and they basically just fucking kick him to the ground.
Right, they Inazuma kick him. Red then pulls out the Lupin Magnum and finishes Nutshak off with a Good Striker blow him away Magnum. Nutshak hopes he'll be reincarnated as a frilled neck lizard, then explodes. Goody starts chuckling awkwardly and asks if thieves are going to do the thing. It's just, we're not doing the thing today? We're not? We're not going to say it? Okay, that's fine.
The thing we always say, come on.
Yellow, still in shock, repeats that Noelle is not human. Goody says in response, "What? You guys didn't know that?" Honey, you made that joke while watching the episode. The only reason I didn't is because I thought Goody was going to say it.
Yep. I mean, it's a sign that Goody's pretty well written in that I know how he's going to react, which is to say, he just assumes that everybody is already on the up and up.
Why wouldn't he know? I'm honestly surprised, like, you guys don't think I'm human, do you? I'm not, just so we know. We get more of Noelle's fucking sick parkour skills. I can't summarize the scene very well, so I'll just talk about it generally. Toki's an accomplished parkour practitioner. He has several videos of him practicing and performing the martial art on his Instagram.
I'm Noelle Takea. Welcome to Jackass.
That too. That would be badass, actually. Looking at his Instagram led me down quite a rabbit hole, so we'll get to that after this episode summary.
Yep.
Noelle's chase scene is stopped by a global police car driven by Keitro. He steps out of the car to confront Noelle. Keitro asks if Noelle has really betrayed them, but before Noelle can respond, Satoru opens fire, and the two run off. As they run away, Keitro is left behind. A rainstorm drenches both him and the police car as the outro starts in silence.
Da 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 da. Depression.
Remember last episode? When we killed Destra? And everything looks so good. We're doing so well. And now everyone's mad.
Yeah, all the humans are mad, and Degranio's just chasing the high of somebody else taking over the human world.
Mm-hmm.
The humans getting messed with.
Yeah.
It's his only joy anymore.
So anyways, let's start by talking about the Ganglar, Tukagale, the biggest dumbass.
Yeah, so they chose the perfect personality to match what the Ganglar of the episode would be doing, which is to say, getting his ass kicked constantly.
Right, and it needs to be someone, like, stupid enough that you don't really know what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't trust his information, not because he's smart enough to lie, because he's too stupid to know what's actually going on.
He's very easily persuaded by pictures.
Yeah, granted, at this point, we officially don't know what's going on. We have our suspicions, but,
Mm-hmm.
when I say, like, he doesn't know what's going on, I don't mean to imply that there's a particular thing. It's just that, we don't know what he knows, because he doesn't know what he knows, really.
Yeah. In general, he's just kind of lost all the time.
Mm-hmm. If it's my notes, Penguino didn't get a collection piece, but this guy did.
Tigrano just really felt sorry for him.
I wish there was like
the
a
little dance he does.
I wish there was like a hyper competent Gangler called like Tukagale or something. It's just like, boss, why didn't I get a collection piece? What do you mean? I totally gave it. Oh no. But the thing I wanted to mention about him, his human form, suit actor, and voice actor are all the same person.
Mm-hmm.
Toshihiro Ogura. He's a veteran Toku actor. He does a ton of suit work, a ton of voice work.
He's real good at it.
Yeah, like the little dance that he does that imitates a lizard crawling, that's the sort of like a little detail that we don't always get from the Ganglar actors.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame because like just reading this guy's like credits list, he should be a well-known name. Like he has done a couple of like mentor characters in Sentai.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish that like they would pull the strings to make him a ranger just once.
Yeah, just make him the excitable one.
Mm-hmm. So before we get into episode stuff, I have to talk about Sayama Toki's Instagram. So obviously his bio is in Japanese, but there are 5 words in it that were written with the Latin alphabet, in addition to his name. Those words are DM, Pon, which I think is a onomatopoeia, tricking, parkour, and Naruto. So your laugh would mean that you might not know why Sayama Toki would have Naruto in his Instagram bio.
Does he do the Naruto run?
There was a stage show of Naruto in 2016.
Oh my god.
Sayama Toki was involved in it. And he played Naruto.
Oh my god.
Look at this image. This is the worst fucking thing I've seen all day. I looked up Sayama Toki's, like, casting. I looked at other roles he played. I found him in Aoni. How did I not see he was Naruto?
Oh my god.
It's
I
like...
don't have anything to add.
Yeah, I wish we could riff on this more, but this is so insane on its own. I mean, he has the athletic build for it. He can do backflips. Like, he could play Naruto.
I do believe it.
Shut up. Naruto doesn't even say that past the first, 10 episodes.
So
Also,
anyway, I need Kairi to play Boruto.
Sasuke is being played by Sakuya for some reason.
It would make it way better.
Sakuya should be playing Naruto.
Yeah, actually.
Anyways, one last thing I found through his Instagram. Sam Toki actually does have a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly unboxing and review videos of other Toku toys.
All right.
I think I saw a couple of Pokemon videos. He's done a lot on Ryu Soldier, which, nice, he's not bitter. I'm surprised he hasn't done review of like all the X toys. But I was really disappointed because there's no parkour videos. Like, the reason I know what parkour is because it was really popular on YouTube for quite a while.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't post any videos. Like, you could bring it back. You can bring parkour back to the public consciousness. You're really good at it, man. So those are the main things I wanted to talk about. So I guess we should address, we finally have an answer for what do the binoculars do.
They see your guts, so if you have non-human guts, somebody's gonna know that.
Yeah. We've known since episode 8 that, like, functionally they help her predict what people are going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the first time we've seen, like, why Kogure didn't say that's what they did, and why Noelle was so worried about them.
That was like the first time those happened before Noelle showed up?
Yeah, the binoculars were introduced in episode 8, I think, way before Noelle showed up.
So yeah, I guess a little bit weird that Kogure would act so suspiciously then. Unless, maybe he doesn't have normal guts either. Just saying.
But yeah, that's... I think one of the more subtle things is that, like, we know what they do, but the characters don't, and Kogure and Noelle refuse to tell them.
Yeah, and, like, there's still a twist there because, now we know more of the specifics of it.
Yeah.
Like, initially when the thing was being used and Kogure was being suspicious about it, I thought it had, like, some really, like, dangerous secondary effect that it might have, but really that's more of a Kogure thing, which actually, now it does make sense as to why he nor Noelle ever mentioned what it does, because it's not like Red and the rest were in any extra danger because of it. It's not like if Ghosh looks at you long enough, you explode. It's just, hey, oh no, if she looks at Noelle, she's gonna know his guts are weird.
So a lot happens in this episode, huh? We have that reveal on top of, like, Satoru's back, which isn't a reveal so much as it is a surprising development.
Yep, Satoru's back and not suspicious at all. Like Sweets, as he always definitely did. Refuses to let Noelle ever get a word in edgewise.
So, I did want to plant this idea in your head, because I saw Tumblr theories around the time these episodes aired. Some people predicted that Noelle was actually going to turn out to be the traitor, and Satoru was going to replace him as X. And you might say, like, well, that's weird, why would he care about the thieves? Like, no, that's what they wanted to happen. They wanted the police to take X away from the thieves.
Alright, finally the Pat Rangers get something.
It's a whole dude.
We have one whole man.
I think I saw a couple of people wanted, like, Satoru to somehow take just the police, the Power and X powers. Which, some shows they could get away with that. I feel like the mechanics of it wouldn't quite work. Yeah. You'd have to split the gun in half, and then it wouldn't be a gun anymore.
Yeah, the mechanics wouldn't quite work, and I don't know, I just think part of the reason X works is because he's just switching all the time. That's his whole gimmick. Yeah. His mech flips upside down, do you get it?
But it's, like, obvious that Satoru couldn't replace Sakia.
But what if he just did?
Right, that would honestly, that would be kind of disappointing. Yeah, after so many episodes, we just have to care about Satoru now. Saki's gone.
Talking about it, it's hilarious that Satoru would just come in and then Saki would get shoved out of the show, never to return. But if that actually happened, that would suck ass.
Yeah. And also, Saya Matoki is apparently like the biggest name in the cast. I mean, he played Naruto. But he's also been in like theatrical movies, which like, I think I mentioned Ryu Yokoyama has been in movies, but only as like extras. But he is the most experienced and probably the most expensive of the cast. So there were a lot of people that thought that like maybe Noel was getting the boot.
Noel manages to get behind Satoru, points a gun at him. You never had a chance. I played Naruto.
I'm sorry that we're not coming up with more jokes about Saya Matoki playing Naruto. It's just so funny on its own.
The mere existence of it.
So those are the main things I wanted to talk about.
I guess I could just bring up that I think that it's neat after all these episodes of, exploring the fact that Noel's switching sides all the time. Now we have this wrench that just gets thrown in out of nowhere. What happens if it seems that everybody can't trust Noel?
Yeah. I do also like that. It's sort of like Noel as a traitor would almost just be too obvious even without this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like his entire character is built upon constantly betraying both teams to each other.
And, typically it's not like he sees it as that. He wants everybody to work together for their benefit. But yeah, I do find the differences in their reactions interesting. Plus, just the differences in how, the information is brought to them. Because for the Lupin Rangers, it's a Ganglar says, "Hey, Noel gave me this collection piece." And, that's the main reason that they're mad. They're also surprised to hear that he's not human, but, I don't feel that that's as big a thing.
Right, it's sort of like, at first they don't believe Tokagale, because why would Noel lie to them? And then Ghosh says, he's been lying to you since the moment he met you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes them think, well, if he lied about that, he could have lied about other things. It's not a great chain of reasoning, but it's something that you would probably do in that moment.
Yeah. But then meanwhile, for the Pat Rangers, you have an old comrade coming in and saying, "Hey, yeah, he's the traitor."
Mm-hmm. And even then, they don't really believe it until they physically see him with the Gangler.
And I think their individual reactions are also pretty interesting. The Lupin Rangers are sort of, all just the same. They just get real aggro about the whole situation, but Kaichiro is just kind of oscillating between extremely mad and just disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
Sakia is just very insistent that Noel couldn't be a traitor.
It's nice to hear him say that about someone who isn't Tumika.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this is just Sakia's default reaction once he's decided he's your friend.
Yep. And then Tsukasa's sort of just silently in disbelief. I feel like if anybody's going to figure it out, it's probably her. I feel like Saki is just going to be like, maybe it's not him. And then when inevitably it's revealed that Noel isn't evil, he'll just be like, "I knew it all along."
Yeah, and Keiichiro's kind of interesting because he is the angry character, and he never really gets angry at Noel.
Yeah, he has a yell when he's just all alone in the nut shack.
Right, and he tells Noel to stop, and he yells that, but that's because he's yelling a command.
Yeah.
When he confronts him at the end, he just says, "Are you betraying us? Are you really doing this?"
Yeah. But I also noticed that, Tsukasa, I think, was also, the last to train her gun on Noel, before he started firing.
Mm-hmm. Keiichiro was the first.
Yeah.
He's the only one that hadn't shot at Noel this episode.
But yeah, I think it makes sense that, the Pat Rangers, the show gets more in-depth about sort of their reaction to a breach of trust than the Lupin Rangers, who, they have their secret clubhouse of cool thieves, where they have the promise to leave each other behind if it looks like one of them's going to die. So, trust is weird around them in the first place, but for the Pat Rangers, all along it's been, we're only barely trusting Noel because even if his motives are weird and we don't entirely know them, he ends up doing the right thing.
I think that does it for this episode.
Yeah, so next episode's gonna be wild.
Mm-hmm. We have hit the point where even the filler episodes are going to be like must-watches. I went through the next episode preview, not for episode 44, which you're going to watch next, but episode 45, and there is a line in it that you absolutely have to see, and it will make you go, we need to watch the next episode right now.
Oh boy. But yeah, I can't wait to see why Kaichiro, Tsukasa, and Saki are pointing guns at one another.
It's everyone's a traitor. I don't fucking know anymore.
Oh my god. We're all traitors.
Mm-hmm.
Who are we even working for?
But
And then Revolver Ocelot comes in.
Alright. I think that does it for this week's episode. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we are at LRVSPR. Fefner's at FefnerMasamune. If you want to email us, you can email us at LupinRecap via PatReview@gmail.com. And we will see you in the next episode. Adieu.